The countdown is on. With less than 6 months until the March primary race in Texas, we take an inside look at the crowded field of candidates vying for Ken Paxton's soon-to-be open Attorney General seat. And we sit down with one of 2 state senators vying for the Republican nomination.
There's so much more that we can do.
And new polling shows declining favorability ratings for both Republican frontrunners in the U.S. Senate race, as an up-and-coming Texas House member throws his hat in the ring for the Democratic nomination.
You're going to see me talking to people that Democrats don't typically talk to.
Plus, a patient protection law sparked by a series of our investigations finally takes full effect.
You brought up some very pertinent deficiencies in the system that are getting rectified.
The new scrutiny facing doctors and what the law means for you as a patient.
Produced from the Capitol in Austin and airing statewide, this is the award-winning State of Texas.
Hello and thank you for joining us. I'm Josh Hinkle. We're still several months away from the primary election for U.S. Senate, but the campaign is heating up. Republicans are favored to win next year, but the top GOP candidates face some challenges. A poll from the Texas Politics Project at the University of Texas found the top Republicans in the race are both battling high negative numbers. 45% of all people polled view Senator John Cornyn unfavorably. Challenger Ken Paxton also has a 45% unfavorable rating. However, his favorable numbers came in at 28%, slightly higher than Cornyn's. Those numbers for Cornyn and Paxton are raising hopes for Democrats looking to break a losing streak in statewide elections that's more than 30 years long. It's setting up a heated Democratic primary. And as Dylan McKim reports, the highlight this week is a campaign announcement by an up-and-coming candidate.
It's time to start flipping tables.
James Talarico, the 36-year-old state representative from Central Texas, is the latest Democratic hopeful to enter a highly anticipated Senate race.
We'll take back this state.
The former middle school teacher spent 4 terms in the Capitol working on education policy and went toe-to-toe with Governor Greg Abbott over education savings accounts. He now sets his sights on the nation's capital, sharing a message that he will fight for the common Texan.
I firmly believe that all 30 million Texans deserve a U.S. Senator who's going to fight for their interests, not the interests of billionaire mega donors.
And while Talarico launched his campaign here in his hometown of Round Rock, his competition continued their campaigns at events in San Antonio and Dallas on Tuesday night.
Former U.S. Congressman Colin Allred said he welcomes the competition as he and Talarico share a similar campaign message to fight what they call a rigged system.
How I know what is ailing us, how I know what's broken this system, and I've got both the integrity and the record to make sure that we fix it.
Astronaut Terry Virts has the least amount of name recognition among the hopefuls, but feels he has the best chance to win a statewide race.
So unless we get some reluctant Trump voters, Democrats are going to lose this election, and I'm the guy that can get those voters.
Whoever wins the Democratic nomination will most likely take on either Senator John Cornyn or Attorney General Ken Paxton.
You're going to see me talking to people that Democrats don't typically talk to.
All 3 Democratic candidates have a similar goal.
I'm talking to working people on the job about what's happening in their lives.
Canvassing the state, talk to all types of Texans.
I'm the guy who can reach out to Republicans.
For a chance to do something no Democrat has done in 30 years. Win a statewide election. Dylan McKim, State of Texas.
The Texas Politics Project poll we mentioned earlier gives us an early indication of how Texas voters feel about the top Democrats in the race for Senate. They polled 1,200 registered voters in the last week of August and asked whether people had a favorable or unfavorable opinion of each of the top candidates. When asked about how they felt about Colin Allred, the results were almost evenly split, with 32% viewing him favorably and 33% unfavorably. James Talarico's favorable ratings slightly edged out his unfavorable ratings, but 54% of people in the poll said they did not know enough about the state lawmaker to have an opinion. Dylan spoke one-on-one with Representative Talarico and asked him about the issue of name recognition.
So as a Democrat, in an uphill battle like Texas, also someone who's doesn't have as much name recognition as your counterpart here, Colin Allred, who you'll be running against. What's your strategy to get your name out there, and what kind of issues will you be trying, or what message, I should say, would you be getting out there to the voters that would want them to elect you over a Republican?
Yeah, I'm the outsider in this race, running against a lot of people who have been in politics for a while, and I'm certainly the underdog in this primary and in the general. But I've been the underdog before. I first won a seat in the state legislature by flipping a district that no one thought was winnable. People counted me out then, and I proved them wrong by bringing lots of people together, Democrats, Independents, and Republicans. I ran an authentic, aggressive, unorthodox campaign. And that's exactly what I'm going to do in this race. I'm going to go everywhere. I'm going to talk to everyone. You're going to see me in places where you don't typically see a Democrat. You're going to see me talking to people that Democrats don't typically talk to. That's what's going to be necessary if we're going to win this seat in November of next year. So I hope to surprise people in this upcoming race, and I hope this campaign surprises people as we move forward.
At the very end of your campaign launch video, you have this slogan here. It says, "It's time to start flipping tables." Can you explain to us, what do you mean by that?
Well, I decided to run for this U.S. Senate seat because I firmly believe that all 30 million Texans deserve a U.S. Senator who's going to fight for their interests, not the interests of billionaire megadonors. And Ken Paxton, John Cornyn, they have repeatedly demonstrated that they're not fighting for us. They're fighting for the people who fund their campaigns. And I think it's time for a different kind of elected official who's actually going to fight for working people in the state of Texas. And so in my faith, we follow a barefoot rabbi who, when the powerful were rigging the system, decided to walk into the seat of power and flip over the tables of injustice. And so my faith is central in my life. It's the reason I'm in public service. And so I wanted to use that story to communicate what this campaign is going to be all about. And the goal is to start flipping tables so that we can have a government that actually works for regular people again.
Yeah, your big message in that video was talking against the mega donors, these billionaire mega donors, and what you called their kind of puppet politicians. They're pulling the strings here. I'm sure it's a question you're going to be getting a lot, but there was that report that last year your biggest donor was from the Texas Sands PAC, which of course is backed by a billionaire in herself, Miriam Adelson. She donated $59,000 to your House reelection campaign. Talk to me about that. You talk about the mega donors, and yet you still did receive donations from a billionaire.
Yeah, I'm the only member of the Texas legislature that doesn't take a dime of corporate PAC money. Never have, and I'm not going to in this U.S. Senate race. This is going to be a people-powered effort. That's exactly how I've run all of my campaigns, and it's going to be how I run this Senate race. We're going to be taking donations from regular people all over the state, all over the country, who want to give $5, $10, $15. That's where the power of this campaign is going to come from, and I've committed already not to take corporate PAC money in this upcoming race, just like I haven't in my career in the Texas House.
You're a four-term representative. You worked a lot on education policy in your time in the State House. I want to kind of go back to this most previous regular session we've had. You were very, you railed against the education savings accounts. That was something that Governor Greg Abbott supported fully, wanted to get that passed. You also railed against the 10 Commandments being displayed in classrooms bill. I'm curious to know, those are very state-level issues. If you were to be elected to the U.S. Senate, what kind of issues would you be tackling at the national level?
Well, I think public education is under attack at the federal level as well. The defunding of the Department of Education, they're now pushing a national private school voucher scam that would affect not only Texans, but every American. And so this fight is becoming national, and I'm going to take what I've been doing at the state capitol, working for working people in this state, fighting against those billionaires who are trying to defund our school. I'm going to take that fight from the state capitol to our nation's capital if I'm fortunate enough to be elected to this position.
You heard Talarico say he has never taken corporate PAC money. However, he has received donations from billionaire Miriam Adelson's PAC. His campaign told us that Adelson's donation is not technically from a corporate PAC, and campaign officials said Talarico regularly returns checks from Walmart, Chevron, and other corporations. Online now, you can learn more about the top candidates for the Democratic nomination. We have interviews with Talarico, Allred, and Virts on our website. Just look for the links in this week's State of Texas story. 6 months ahead of the March primaries, we take a look at the crowded Attorney General's race. as high-profile candidates from both sides of the aisle kick off what's sure to be a heated campaign season. And a law sparked by a series of our investigations finally takes full effect. It requires more transparency for patients and more scrutiny for doctors. But next, we'll tell you why some lawmakers say it doesn't go far enough.